Hey everybody, I'm back at ADA today, and I spent a few hours working on a couple necessary projects as the boat is going to be moved out of the inside storage tomorrow on Monday, the eclipse day, and we are going to be outside in the yard for about another month. As usual, I thought about going home early or going down into the engine room and taking care of a job that I did not look forward to but knew was necessary. And that had to do with the generator. I'm going to turn the camera around and give you a overview of what I've been working on. The generator, which sits in the forward part of the engine room. I'm a little messy here today, but I am working. The generator sits in the forward part of the engine room, and that provides the 110 volt power to our boat, so we can run all types of household equipment while not plugged into the dock. This generator is in pretty good shape, but I noticed in the fall that it had a difficult time starting up and wasn't running in perfect condition. And diesels usually, well, if they've got great fuel, great air, they typically they run just fine. And this one is also water cooled. I've explained before about working on heat exchangers and the water strainer to bring the water in from outside the boat to cool the diesel. Well, I decided to tackle the job of cleaning one of the fuel filters. It's the Racor filter, or the first filter that the fuel gets to. All diesel motors have at least two fuel filters. There's one actually right here that is hardwired into the fuel lines. I'll be changing that before too long. And I'm going to spin around. You've seen my Detroit diesels before, but I'm just going to point you to one of the Racor fuel filters that runs. This is my starboard filter. These are fuel filter and water separators. There's a turbine in the bottom of this unit that allows the water to settle out, and then you can actually drain it out of the bottom of the fuel filter. Diesel floats on water, so the water will sink to the bottom when you get water into your Racor filter. Well, I wasn't necessarily going to film this project because I didn't know actually if I was going to be able to tackle this job. But actually I did get it apart, and I'm going to show you a few things now as to what I found. Well, let's just start with inside a Racor filter is it's a Racor filter. This is a 2-micron filter. These go into my big Detroit motors. These filters are a little bit bigger than the one that goes into the generator. And the generator fuel filter, well, there's part of it right here. That's the top canister, and that's where the cylindrical filter would sit. And the bottom of the, I just have it still connected to one of the fuel lines. I didn't need to disconnect both. I did disconnect this line right here to take the filter apart. One of the reasons why I wasn't sure I was going to film is because I wasn't sure I was actually going to get this filter off today. But I did get it off, and this is what I found. You can tell by my rag, I didn't find anything good. in the bottom of the filter, I'll just bring this bucket over here, and I will hold up this bowl that is supposed to collect the water and grime at the bottom of the turbine. And what I actually ended up finding is that this thing is just full of sludge down at the bottom. So cleaning it was absolutely necessary. Diesels love their clean fuel, so cleaning this was absolutely necessary. Even though the filter, which is farther down in this bucket, gets changed out, and it's a 2-micron filter, the big problem with today's project is this turbine unit, which has a couple of different parts to it, and they are filthy. The big problem with this is that built inside this turbine is actually a float valve which keeps the fuel from draining out of the filter when it's not in use. Oftentimes you'll find that the fuel will just sort of siphon back through this line right back down into the fuel tank that it runs to. And that's exactly what was happening. When the generator wasn't running for a little while, the fuel would just drain slowly back down into the tank. It just siphons back down. And that's because there is a small little aluminum ball somewhere down in this bucket, is a little round gasket and a little round aluminum ball. And that aluminum ball floats in diesel, and it floats up against that gasket, and it's inside that turbine. It sort of sits right inside here, and it's all upside down. And that ball floats against that gasket and keeps the fuel from draining back out of the filter. Problem is, every now and again, the gaskets, the seals, well, obviously everything needs cleaned, but that little ball and its little gasket need to be replaced so that you don't lose the fuel that's sitting in the filter. Just like these filters back here, I took the tops off of these, and there is diesel right to the very, very top. If you crack that lid off, diesel fuel will seep right out of there, and that's how they're supposed to sit, full of fuel. And the generator one wasn't. So getting the fuel filter apart and getting it clean is, well, not the highest priority, but it was pretty high on my list of things to do. So that's what I'm tackling today. Not sure I'm going to do it all here at the boat. May just pack up all this stuff, take it home. I do have the rebuild kit with all of the seals where I can clean up all of these parts and bring a beautiful clean filter back with a brand new filter cartridge in it, ready to put back in. And then all you do is pour diesel. I have some that I drained out of the bottom of the bowl. I'll pour probably 3 times this much back into the filter, top it right up to the top, and she should be pretty much primed for when we're ready to fire up the generator. So I was just going to go home, but I decided I would take the project home with me. Talk to you later.